This is AJ Wachtel. Welcome to my podcast, Wachtelligence, where I discuss with my guests the past, present, and future of the local and national music scene with a focus on Boston and New England. Today's episode, Robin Lane, When Things Go Right, is about the iconic life and career of one of the most important female singer-songwriters alive today. Robin has been performing on the Boston music scene since the late 1970s when her band Robin Lane and the Chartbusters made the Billboard Top 100 song chart with their hit, When Things Go Wrong. She was once married to Police guitarist Andy Summers, and she sang backup on Neil Young's 1969 album, Everyone Knows This Is Nowhere. There have even been documentaries made about her tremendous talent and hot history. Today, her Songbird Sings organization helps survivors deal with trauma through music. How cool is that? Welcome to Wachtelligence, Robin.
Oh, thank you, AJ.
Let's talk
Good morning. Okay.
Let's talk about your history. The Chartbusters. You were born in LA. Your dad was Ken Lane, the songwriter and pianist who was featured on Dean Martin's TV show in the 60s. Was Dean a nice guy?
Totally nice. Nice, fun, and inclusive of all the people, the kids that came around his house, to his house. Played pool with everybody, you know.
Were you friends with his son, Dino? From Dino, Desi, and Billy?
I knew Dino. Oh, totally nice, too. And Dina, his daughter, I was more friendly with.
So I guess that against the myth and against the PR, he tried to produce.
The drinking thing?
Yeah, he didn't always smell of booze, right?
I don't think so, but what would I have known? I just didn't, that was not in my mind to look for people drinking in those days, you know, as a teenager.
Can you give me a funny Dean Martin story?
Only that I became friends with Dina, not through my dad. And so one time I spent the night there and I came downstairs and my dad was at the door. And he said, "What are you doing here?" So that's the only funny Dean Martin story I have.
That's a funny story.
The Dean Martin story.
Is she still alive?
Dina?
Yeah.
Yes, and she performs all her dad's songs and probably some other standards. She has a big band. She goes around the world or the country anyway.
Do you still keep in touch with her?
I've talked to her a while ago, but not recently. But she always sends me things, you know, where they're going to play.
In 68 and 70, you were married to future lead guitarist for the Police, Andy Summers, a great, great, great English guitarist. When was the last time you talked to him?
Wait a second. That was 69. We married in 69, 70, 71, 72. In his book, he put 2 years. It was more than that. But anyway, I think he called it his lost weekend. So I don't know what to say about that. You know, we were very poor. We lived with my mom a lot, and she took care of him. I haven't seen Andy in a long time.
In 69, you sang backing vocals on Round and Round on Neil Young's Everyone Knows This.
Yeah,
Everyone Knows This Is Nowhere. Yeah, tell me about that.
Yeah, so right after I did that, that's when I met Andy, like about a month later, maybe the same month. Andy had nothing to do with Neil Young and those people. Like, actually, this is really funny. My friend Terry Sachin worked for all these bands. Like
Right. I was going to ask you about, because that's the Charles Manson Terry.
Well, wait, but wait. So Terry brought over, when I was married to Andy, Terry brought Joe Walsh over, and Joe Walsh wanted to produce me. But then Joe said later after meeting me and Andy, said, like, no, I couldn't work with her with that guy around. Is that bad gossip? What?
You were talking about Neil Young recording on his album, and another story about Neil is that he wrote the song, his famous song, "The Needle and the Damage Done," about a friend of yours, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah. Oh, well, one of the reasons I even did anything at all with music was because of Danny Whitten, because he thought I was just, the greatest thing since sliced bread for whatever reason. Because
who was Danny Whitten?
Danny Whitten turned into being the guitar player in Crazy Horse.
Okay.
But when I stayed at their house, they were called the Rockets, and they lived in Laurel Canyon, and sold pot to everybody. That's how I met Neil. And then, so the Rockets, I thought weren't very good, but maybe they were good. I just didn't have an ear for grunge rock at the time. They were like grunge before there was grunge. And then, so when Neil broke up with Buffalo Springfield, the Rockets became Crazy Horse.
So tell me about Terry and the Manson camp connection. You met Bobby Beausoleil, right? But you didn't meet Charles Manson.
Bobby Beausoleil.
Right.
There's so many stories, AJ. You could just, this would take a few months because of all the stories, and they're great. No, I had these two friends, and they were seamstresses. And Elmer Valentine gave them a job at the Whiskey A Go-Go to sew outfits for the go-go dancers, and I was to draw the outfits, or work with the go-go dancers and figure out what kind of outfits they wanted. So we had this little room where we worked, and this guy used to come upstairs all the time with his white dog. His name was Bobby Beausoleil, but we didn't know that. We just called him Bummer Bob because he was always on a bummer. And then later, he was that guy that killed in Topanga Canyon, which started the whole Manson gang killing spree because they were trying to cover it up. Bobby Beausoleil was part of Charles Manson's,
But you never met Charles, huh?
No. Or who knows? Maybe I did. I don't, who. Well, I met the members of the gang. What did you call it? Oh, the clan, the family. The family, right? One time I decided to go camping solo in Big Sur, by myself. So I hitchhiked up to Big Sur with my little camping equipment, and I was camping, and all these young people walked through, and they said, "Oh, do you want to join us? We're camping out here too." And they started telling some stories about some people that had been mauled by bears, but that wasn't up in the Rockies. It wasn't in Big Sur. Anyway, so I went with them, and then they were talking about this guy that they were part of, this family, Charles Manson. They were talking about him. So they were part of that. But I never met Charles Manson, and they were nice enough. Until.
Yeah, until, in the 70s, you moved to PA and then to Cambridge when punk and new wave first came to the area. Tell me about moving to Cambridge and forming the Chartbusters in the late 70s.
This is definitely a shortened version of things, but I moved to Cambridge, and I was still writing songs as a, songwriter, singer-songwriter type person. And suddenly I had this roommate that was playing all this music, and I go like, what in the Sam Hill is this? It was like Patti Smith, Talking Heads, just that I'd never heard.
Right.
And it was around 78 or so. And then suddenly I was putting it on to exercise too, and I started really liking it. So I went to the Paradise when Cheap Trick was there. Remember when Cheap Trick?
Yep.
I went 3 nights in a row, and I met this guy named Alpo, and he was the cutest thing. He looked like Brian Jones, and so he was in the Real Kids, and they said, "Come on, Rob, let's go to the Rat." So he took me to the Rat, and there was all this music I'd never heard before, and it was vital. It was just, wow, what's going on here? I want to be part of this. So I just changed. It was like being hit on the head with a brick, like, wake up, singer-songwriters and this cute little music that you do is okay, but it's not like going to get, Anyway, so that's what Then I found he introduced me to Asa and Leroy, and then there was Scott.
Well, Asa and Leroy were from Jonathan Richman's Modern Lovers, so they were big time right then anyway. And while I let you know, Robin, Alpo also took me to bars. He's a late great guy, just a great guy. Missed very much. I really
wish he hadn't died because we were just like starting to talk again. You know, like he was helping people with addictions.
Yeah,
this freaking drug stuff.
Yeah.
Too bad.
Yeah.
I really miss him. I miss a lot of people now, but he was so sweet, wasn't he?
Oh, absolutely. Just the greatest guy. Just the greatest guy. But the other members, you had Tim Jackson on drums and Scott Barenwald on bass. And, Asa just passed away too. That, Asa I used to love, my favorite Asa Brebner song was I'm in Love with You. What a great rock and roll tune. And I know there was a B-side. And he always used to smirk when I asked him to play it.
Wait. I'm trying to think of that song. Does that go, I'm in
love with you. Right. Right. Right.
Okay.
It's a rocking song.
You know what my favorite song was? You might not ever have heard. Flame Had a Poodle. Did you ever
No,
hear
I've never heard that. No.
Oh my God. It's the best song. One time he was playing it at a party at some friends of ours, and we had him play it over and over and over again about 10 times with his band. It was so good. The flame had a poodle. She bit my noodle. Thought it was cherry. Hit my log or whatever. Just so good.
Asa, his father, you and Asa had something in common too. Asa's father, Winston, wrote Doubting Thomas, the famous book.
Yeah, totally different type of men.
Absolutely. And I want to talk about another totally different type of man that's in your band, one of my favorite people in this planet, very talented guy. And that's probably the reason that the way I met you, your drummer, Tim Jackson. He was also in the band that Time forgot, and he used to play at Ed Burst Harper's Ferry all the time. Very talented. He also produced in 2014 that great film of your life and career, When Things Go Wrong. Tell me about Tim Jackson. Tell me about the film he made.
I think Tim Jackson could tell you more about Tim Jackson. He has so many stories. He's one of the funniest people I know. He's irreverent and funny, and he's an actor too. Did you know? He's been in some movies.
Yeah.
He's Tim Jackson all the way.
Yeah, and I'm just, I met him. He's one of the most talented people I know, and nobody knows that. Nobody knows enough. We had not enough people. That's the wrong thing to say. Not enough people know it. But we're talking about When Things Go Wrong, the movie. That song was also featured in Adam Sandler's 2010 movie Grown Ups. Did you ever meet Adam?
No, too bad. We were invited to a big party though, but we didn't. It was in California. We should have gone. We didn't.
How did your song get picked for that movie?
I think Adam Sandler, and I can't remember the guy that worked with him. Adam grew up in this area in New Hampshire, and that was a song that was being played when he was coming of age, I think.
Don't walk away. That lonely
you can tell me if this is fact or fiction. Jerry Wexler, the famous record label mogul, saw a Chartbusters show and signed the band to Warner Brothers. It's a myth. Did he sign you people up in the dressing room after the gig?
Oh, I have no clue. I don't remember. Maybe. But he said we didn't have dynamics too. He thought,
what do you mean by that?
I think he meant like the songs didn't change within the songs, like to come down, like drop out a guitar here or there, just to give it some flavor, dynamics. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Like, so we did start doing that, but maybe too late.
In 1980, When Things Go Wrong made number 87 on the Billboard singles chart. That's impressive. How cool was that when you found out that you had made the top 100 on the Billboard chart?
That was very nice.
And and you were also the 11th video. That song was the 11th video shown on MTV's first broadcast day in 1981. That's pretty impressive too.
Well, it is now, but no, but there was too many things going on. So I didn't know. And we never got to see MTV until we were on the road. It wasn't being shown in Boston yet.
Yeah.
So we made a video, and then I was kind of disappointed at first because it was like, I wanted to have a cool video, what I thought was cool,
Right.
And, but it was like set back in time because they wanted to use the Constitution. So,
right.
But it's a nice video, and
right.
But things your opinion of things change as time goes on. Yeah. So now, that was really cool that we were 11th video on MTV. But back then, I don't even remember what I thought.
A cool thing that I remember is that the Chartbusters had a great feature article in the Billboard magazine. And I think one of the quotes was that Blondie's Debbie Harry or the Pretenders' Chrissie Hynde had more hits and better parts and better press.
Press.
But you were the most talented female artist to come out of the new wave scene. How cool is that? I mean, thinking back, don't you think that's correct?
You want to know a curse that I just heard?
What?
May you be famous but not rich. And I don't care about rich, but just other, not having to live under a bridge would be great. I'm not under a bridge yet, but there's so many things going on in the world. Yeah, no, and I'm not famous either. Not famous.
Right.
I have some notoriety, and that's good. And as far as the talent goes, I'm not going to say anything that I think about that, but I love what I do. I love writing songs. I love working with people and playing out.
Right now, that's a good way to go into this. The Chartbusters, Busters, they split up for the first time in '83, and part of the reason was you wanted to raise your daughter. And does your daughter play an instrument? Does she sing also?
Not at all. I think she saw my struggle too much because I continued trying to break through in the music business more, but I probably had my opportunities. So, whatever. And people also didn't think women with children, babies, pregnant, could rock at that time. But I would have continued playing even though I had a baby. It wasn't that I dropped out of music to raise my child. I started doing music. It's just I couldn't get.
Hey,
I think really what it amounts to, AJ, is that our second album just didn't do enough for the record company. We were with a big record company. We should have stayed small, more grassroots probably, and built up, but we didn't. So they weren't getting their money back. They put money into us going out on the road and whatnot.
Hey, you toured with the Kinks, the Cars, Hall and Oates, XTC. You toured with everybody back then.
Yeah. split ends.
Well, the band split up, and you had a bunch of solo releases. We're just talking about you raising a child. You had Heart Connection in '84, In Concert in '89, Catbird Seat in '95, Out of the Ashes in 2011, The Sweet Candy Collection in 2011, A Woman's Voice in 2013. You have never, stopped making music because of anything, and that's great.
I know.
Well,
it is what it is. In the words of our ex-president, it is what it is. That's what it was. I can't stop because that's what brings me joy. And also, you have to do what makes you happy.
In 2019, you had a Chartbusters band reunion with Billy Lysigian replacing Leroy Radcliffe. Now, he's one of the best guitarists, one of the most legendary local guitarists. It was in support of the release of many years ago, the complete Robin Lane and the Chartbusters collection. Right. It's a 3-disc album. What's the difference between Billy and Leroy's presence in your band?
Different style of guitar. Leroy
Right.
was on his telly, kind of squeaky, and Leroy was really good at finding little parts for songs, and Billy is just an all-out rocker dude,
growling
kind of
guitar.
guy. And totally different styles. When I first started the Chartbusters, and I'd come out of the singer-songwriter Robin Lane thing.
Right.
And I was walking around Harvard Square, and some of my old fans, they heard the Chartbusters, and they came up to me. These were musicians. And they went, "Okay, well, your band, it's okay, but get rid of that guy with the squeaky guitar, And so, and that was Leroy.
Right.
But I didn't get rid of him, and he had really great parts. So there you go.
And he's a great guitarist. The album, the 3 discs that I was just talking about, it includes outtakes for recording sections, plus demos, unreleased studio tracks, and live performances. Is there anything from the Chartbusters left?
Yeah. Yes. You mean recorded songs?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yes.
Will that ever come out?
Probably not.
Why?
Well, maybe. I don't know. I've found some, here and there, just online. I have them. I don't know how I even got them. Recorded stuff that didn't get on the compilation. It's not too good. Probably demo versions with lots of noise. I have to check it out too, because I haven't listened, back to back the whole compilation. There are songs on there that,
You should.
I should have it. Yeah.
What the heck? If there's another half hour of great Chartbusters music, we want to hear it.
You're so nice.
Let's talk about Songbird Sings organization. You treat people with trauma with music. Tell us about your great group.
Well, what happens is I find people, mainly through organizations that have suffered trauma. Most of us have, but these are really huge traumatic things that have happened to them. Childhood abuse, war, veterans, that have been in wars, young girls. I haven't worked with young boys that have been trafficked, American kids that are trafficked out for unbelievable stuff. And then women in prison. I work with a lot of women in prison who've all, of course, had trauma. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't be in prison. Well, people that have survived and are still, trying to have lives. And I have to find money always to do these programs because I don't charge people. I don't charge trauma. Oh, and then people with, coming out in recovery from drug addictions and that kind of stuff, work with them too. So what I do basically is it's songwriting. I get them to write their stories into song, and I put them into a song, whatever their lyrics are, poems, or I edit them, help them, and then they pick the type of song they want to have their lyrics in, and then we do that, and then we record it. I have a recording studio, a portable one, and then we make CDs, and then they go home with a CD because most of them are just going like, at the beginning they're going like, what's going on? I can't write a song, I can't sing. But then they end up doing it, and if they don't sing, then somebody else in the group sings their song, or I do, or we all do, and record it, and then they've always got this, they've got a remembrance of what happened in that group.
That's so powerful. That's so good.
It's so powerful.
Can you give me a web address so people that want to help support you financially or just find out about what you're doing?
Okay. SongbbirdSings.org.
Okay. And all you folks out there, Robin's one of the good ones out there. Call her up. Open your wallets. Show her you support this great, great, great cause. Let's talk about your recent releases now. You were just talking about how you, how through therapy, you make songs you write songs with the people that are in trauma. You have a new album, instant album. The first single is a rock and electric tune, It's Your World. Tell me about it.
Tell me about Instant Album? Tell you about Instant?
Yes.
I can tell me about Instant Album too if you want. Okay, so I had, it was COVID came, and I wasn't doing anything, and I just figured all these songs that I've had recorded but never released. In fact, there's a bunch more, but I just picked 16 and I put them on an album and called it Instant Album. So they're songs that were recorded from the first one. This was a song I wrote back when I was pregnant in 1969, and I had a baby, and I gave that baby up for adoption, and I called him Benjamin. So that's on there too. Later we found each other, so now we're very good friends. Yeah, and he's a musician. He's been in bands that I know, and he knows lots of people. He knew Johnny Angel, Ronnie Barnett, like all these people that I know, he knows. It's just funny, but that's a different story. So there were all these different songs from different eras on Instant Album, and people like that album that actually have listened to it.
I've listened to the songs. It's great. I just mentioned It's Your World. That's a great song. It's a rock and electric tune.
Yeah, that's a good song. I like that song too. We made a little video out of it. My friend up here, Magic Squirrel, with fans. I have a Patreon site, and so I just asked patrons to take part in this video.
Now, you're also jamming with Emily Grogan, Linda Viennes, and Marnie Hall. And I heard a song that she plays fiddle on. And you said, AJ, it's just we're jamming. What's the story with that? That's $1 million worth of talent right there.
Well, they came in to help me do a song from one of the workshops called false memory syndrome. I'll send that to you. It's
Okay.
unbelievable. Devastating song about a girl who sued her parents for being trafficked. Sorry to say, but
Yeah.
terrible parents on the North Shore of Boston. And so she wrote this song because she sued them. Anyway, long story there. So they came in to the studio, to Ringo's studio up in Marblehead, with Tim Jackson, and we were filming for that movie that Tim made about me. And then I just sort of launched into the Please Like Me because Sally Field grew up she grew up down the street from me. And I don't know, there's something in the water of Encino, California, because she did that thing with, you like me, you really like me. So, of course, I had that same feeling, like, please like me. And so we just did this little song impromptu. But it's so cool, isn't it?
I think it's great. When I heard Marnie Hall's playing the fiddle or violin, I said, I have to ask Marnie or Robin, what's the difference between a fiddle and a violin?
I don't know. I think it's the way you play it. Violin is classically based,
right?
Traditional classical music. And then a fiddle, the people came over from Scotland or Ireland, wherever they came from, and then they just started fiddling. Or maybe they did it there. Yeah.
You also have, you mentioned it before, a lot of songs about veterans too, about how veterans deal with trauma. Tell me about that, because, in our generation, I know so many veterans, and a lot of them still have troubles 30 and 40 years after serving.
Duh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't just get rid of trauma unless, I don't even know how you get rid of trauma, period, because it's always there, but there are ways to relieve it. And then things to do to get it out, like art and music, particularly because there's something about, and if you write your own song, of course, that saved me, I think, writing songs, because you can put things in songs. I notice that when I start writing on Facebook and put a whole bunch of stuff down, people react well, but there are some people that take it the wrong way.
Yeah.
And it's like conversation. But if you put that same stuff in a song, people will go, oh, I like this song. And it's like got the same kind of message in it.
Well, how cool.
So it's really good for trauma.
It's so cool, but what's it like on your end writing a song with a stranger?
It's fun. Well, especially, what's wrong with that? What could be the problem? Somebody could be walking down the street and I say, you want to write a song? And then we just sit down and we write a song if they want to. I would just ask them about their lives.
That's so cool.
For me, that's great. I think everybody has a story to tell, and huge stories. Everybody's got a huge story, probably. But they keep it buried. A lot of people keep it buried. They don't think anybody would be interested. And that's the problem in the world. People aren't able to tell their stories. That's what Carl Jung said. He said, if we could tell our stories. I've got it on my email. I'll send it to you. I can't remember the exact quote. But if we were able to share our lives and have people listen. People don't listen. Like me, I'm just scattering over you right now. I'm just chat.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I love it. I'm a friend and a fan of yours. I want to bring up, one of the last times I saw you was at another great concert. It was the Hot Stove Cool Music show with Theo Epstein. And, that was just so, for his, what is it? A foundation to be named later. How did you get involved with that?
A friend of my daughter's called me up because she used to work at a long time ago, Boston Billiards, where I guess all those people go, the players and whatnot. I don't know. And so she became friends, Jeff Horrigan, and he had started a foundation to be named later with Peter Gammons. So there was my daughter in San Francisco becoming friends with Jeff Horrigan, and he called me up and asked me if I wanted to come and join them and play some music. And then there I was. And then the foundation to be named later supports all these organizations around Boston and now of course Chicago, because Theo moved there, that help people with, help families and people that need help. And so I was working with some of those organizations,
right.
and I brought some kids up on stage to sing one of the songs they wrote with me. It's called Be You, Just Be You.
The Ballad of Robin Lane. I saw that, and that was cool. That was on Chronicle TV, Channel 5.
That was really cool. I can't remember her name. She came out here with a little crew and filmed me and some of the women I've worked with out here right in my home in Shelburne Falls, and we walked around, and then we went to Roxbury Youth Works, and she filmed me there talking, and she even had some of the kids on, that I'd worked with.
Right.
The young women who had been trafficked. Can't even stand to say that, So
I
bad.
understand. It's a funny thing because when I saw that it was on WCVB, Channel 5. Here's a fact about Channel 5 that you don't know. You and Bill Sheeran, who is one of the managing editors of Channel 5 News, have something in common. You both were on my Boston Gets Stoned album. He was with Snidely Whiplash, and they did Starfucker, and you played that great cover of Salt of the Earth. Let's talk about Salt of the Earth for a second.
Wait, I can't find that anywhere. I thought we did a really great job on that song, and I don't know where it is.
I'll send it to you. It is great.
You have it?
Yeah, you don't remember. You asked me, that came out in 1990 something, early 90s, and you sent me a reel-to-reel master, and you said, give it back to me. So about 5 years later, you were playing with the Chartbusters, or 10 years later, and I had found the reel-to-reel, and I gave you the reel-to-reel master tape 10 years after you asked me for it in the Paradise. Do you remember that at all?
Not really. Where is it then, AJ?
I gave it to you.
Gave it to me?
Yeah, I gave you the master back.
Too bad. But anyway, you have a copy?
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Let's drink to the hardworking people. Let's drink to the lowly of birth. Raise a glass to the good and the evil. Let's drink to the salt of the earth. Say a prayer for the common foot soldier. Spare thought for his back-breaking work. Say a prayer for his wife and his children who burn the fires and still till the earth.
You're also right now. You're performing with Stu Kimball on stage as a guitarist. He's from Face to Face, long time with Bob Dylan. And the last time I saw Stu, he was playing with Kate Taylor.
Have you ever met a nicer person?
Nope. She's a sweetheart. All the Taylors are nice. All the Taylor fans. I was closest with Alex Taylor.
I've known Livingston before. Livingston's a character. But
absolutely.
I guess Kate's a character too. But she is just the sweetest.
I also saw you were just talking about this on your Facebook wall. Bring your ideas and we'll write a song together and perform it at the end of the evening. What kind of response are you getting for this cool thing?
I think it's cool. It's fun, and I do that.
How does it work? How does it work?
Okay, so like we played at the Newberry Brewery, something or other, a couple times. So I'll ask the people in the audience. We pass around a legal pad or something to write. Let's just write a line or two, and we can pick a theme if you want to. Otherwise, we'll just come up with any kind of lines. And then at the end of the evening, bring it up here and we'll make up a song. Oh, then the guys in the band have to follow wherever I lead, which is, I try to keep it simple, but sometimes I've done it where it starts kind of folky, then it goes kind of rock, and then goes into opera, and then it's like, it just kind of has this circuitous little thing that does with all these lyrics from the audience. And they're just lines, they're not really lyrics, they're just lines of whatever.
Song. What's the hardest and the easiest part about writing music with a stranger you just met?
Nothing. Well, like getting them to open up.
Yeah.
If it's one stranger, one person, if they're in a group of people that know I'm coming to help them tell their story in a song, then they're kind of prepped. The veterans, some of the guys in the veterans groups, they're resistant. They go, I can't sing. I've never written a song. I don't get it. And I go, just trust me, and I'll just do something like that. And this one guy, I just remember he was so sweet. And he wrote this song about being flipped over in a canoe, and under the water, which was kind of symbolic to things that had happened to him in Iraq. And it just turned out great, and he was like grinning ear to ear. Another guy, I tried to start with a kind of drum circle because I'd heard that that's good, but one guy had to leave because it just was too triggering, hearing drum stuff. Anyway, so the hardest thing is just to getting them to believe in themselves that they could do this, could write a song.
Is Dirt Road to Heaven the name of your next album?
Yes,
I heard Faded Leaves. It's a great ballad, nice finger-picking ballad. Tell me a little bit about your new album, when it's going to be out, what's on it, and what people can expect to hear.
Well, you're probably not supposed to say this, but people do say it. But this is my favorite thing I've done, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've spent a long time recording this because Dirt Road to Heaven, because the studio's in Marblehead and I had to drive out there, from Western Mass. Anyway, it's taken a long time. Right now, it's just been mastered and we're about to get it to CD Baby to put it all together, with the cover and everything. It'll be on a CD and also digital. The songs, I just love them. And I really love Dirt Road to Heaven. That's my favorite.
What's the future for Robin Lane? What are you going to be doing now? And give me a web address so people can look you up to find out what you're up to.
Here's what people could do to help support Robin Lane and everything that she does. Not just the music, but the anything else. They could join my Patreon page, my Patreon Robin Lane page. And there's different tiers that they can join, like it's not too much money, believe me. The lowest tier is $3 a month. That would be fantastic. If they want to order the new album, Dirt Road to Heaven, or any of the other albums that are on CDs, they can go to therobinlane.com. There's THE-robinlane.com.
All right, Robin, I'm going to ask you the question that I ask all of my guests as the final question on my podcast, Wachtelligence. What was the first concert you ever attended?
Once I mention that, can then I go on?
Sure.
Just a little bit. Well, the first one, there was this great radio station in LA that played a lot of R&B, like really the best R&B that was out then. And I don't know, Tom and Jerry-O. Have you ever heard of them?
No.
Boogaloo, I don't know, just this music that was beyond good. And and I remember going to Bobby Blue Bland concert, not a concert, well, a club in Watts, probably. You know, like with my friends, us white girls, went down there. We were really young. I mean,
How old?
We probably got a ride from our parents or something to go see Bobby Blue Bland. You know who he is?
Oh, yeah, great guitarist.
Okay, so Bobby Blue Bland, that was it. And then later, you know, I was living in San Francisco. Oh, sorry. No, I went to all those shows in LA, you know, Buffalo, Springfield, and all that stuff. But then I was in San Francisco, and I went to everything because I hung out with this band. Never mind, you don't need all these stories right now. But yeah, so I saw all those San Francisco music that came in and out of San Francisco. Cream, Jimi Hendrix, everybody. Janis Joplin. I sat on the stoop in the backstage with Janis one time. Want some Southern comfort? And so I shared a drink with her one time.
Well, thank you so much for being on my on Wachtelligence. It was so great hearing you and speaking to you, Robin. You're one of the good ones. Everybody go check out Robin Lane. And thank you.
Yeah, thank you too. If anybody wants to help those programs for songwriting programs that really help give people the key to their own healing, you can go to songbirdSings.org and then those other ones I mentioned, Patreon. Yep, I'm out here just working away.
Do it now, folks. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Wachtelligence. You can connect with me on Facebook at Wachtelligence. Thanks to my producers, my son Harrison and David Schwartz and Harvey Brooks for my theme song. Don't forget to subscribe.
I don't care what you think of me. Don't need no jailer to set me free. Don't want strangers filling up my cup. Don't need no advisor to show me down from up.